Good morning. This is Mike with Bear Track Adventures, back up in the White Mountains. I'm getting ready to head out on a 3-day trip, my first multiple day trip in the White Mountains. I'm in Glencliff, New Hampshire right now, just off of Route 25. Looking to do a 3-day trip, going up over two of the 4,000 foot peaks that are on the New Hampshire 48 list, Mount Moosilauke and South Kinsman. So I'm doing a partial loop trail, so for about 2/3 of the trip. So this is overall around a 40 to 45 mile trip. About 2/3 of that will be on the Appalachian Trail. So our first white blaze on the Appalachian Trail. This first part is also the Glencliff Trail. So we'll follow this on up to Mount Moosilauke area. The George Brook shelter, there's a nice shelter here. Oh, probably easily sleeps at least 8 to 10 people. And there's a privy over there. This part of the Appalachian Trail, most of the Appalachian Trail in the White Mountains is managed by the Appalachian Mountain Club, where this section is managed by the Dartmouth College. You see signs all along here, DOC. I think it's the Dartmouth Outing Club, I believe is what it stands for, which is the club at the college who helps maintain this trail. So now it looks like got about 3.9 miles to the summit of Mount Moosilauke. So from here, it's around 1,500 feet of elevation, so it's about another 3,300 foot climb from here on out. So keep moving forward. We're almost 4 miles in. We're at like 3.8 miles. We're at 3,300 feet of elevation, so we definitely made some progress. We got, what's that, about 1,200 feet, 12 or 1,300 feet more of elevation to go before we get to the top of South Peak. Around 3,700 feet of elevation. We've got to about 800 feet more of elevation to climb before we get to the South Peak summit. Oh, we're almost at the top. We got about a 1/10 of a mile to head out to South Peak here. This is where the overlook kind of splits off and the peak goes out this way, 1/10 of a mile. And then when we come back from that, we'll continue on the Appalachian Trail, which is headed back this way. And maybe about 5 minutes ago, I ran into my first Appalachian Trail through hiker, southbounder. His through hike this year, because of COVID, turned into a long ash section hike. So he's headed south and almost made it through the whites here. Didn't get his trail name, but he's having a blast. South Peak. So gorgeous views up here. It's supposed to be, well, it's still kind of overcast, but it's supposed to be raining around this time. So I'm just glad to have a nice view up top here. So I'll give you a look all around. Over to the right here, that is Mount Moosilauke. It starts here, goes up to the high peak over here, and then off to the right looks like a pretty steep descent there. So that's where we're headed. And we leave the top here, that's where we're headed, going up and over Mount Moosilauke. We're getting closer. You can already see some of the rock scrambles headed on the way to the top there. Absolutely gorgeous day. It's just amazing up here, this trail. It's also kind of nice started on a Thursday, so there's been very few people. I've only run into maybe 6 so far. I imagine probably starting tomorrow on Friday, towards the end of the day, we'll probably start running into more people. Ridge. All the way back there you can see Mount Washington. It's finally popped out from the clouds. Some of the best views from on top of Mount Moosilauke. Now we're getting ready to head down it, which from what I understand, is the worst part because it's in certain spots are almost straight down. So at least the rain's held off, so shouldn't have to worry about any slippery rocks. About 6 miles in for the day. It's about 12:30, so should easily be able to get to the place where I was headed for today, which I think was 11 or 12 miles. So so far making good time. Down the Appalachian Trail. We started out on the Glencliff Trail, which is also the AT, and now the Appalachian Trail continues on the Beaver Brook Trail. So eventually, once we get down by Route 112, I believe it is the Beaver Brook, and there's a Beaver Brook shelter down there. So that is the direction we're headed once we get down from Mount Moosilauke. Going down Mount Moosilauke, but just came across this like flat area here, just this foresty setting. It's absolutely awesome. I mean, just once again, I love these pine trees. It's just amazing. Be going through a boulder field getting down Moosilauke here. Making our way down Moosilauke. Right now we're around 4,000 feet of elevation. I'm still waiting for these huge cliff drops that I keep on being told about. So far it's been steep, but not nearly as bad as what everyone's making it out to be. So I don't know if people are over-exaggerating or if I just haven't hit that spot yet. We still got a ways to go, a descent to go. But right now we just hit the intersection of the Appalachian Trail and this Asquam Ridge Trail. This is the point when we, tomorrow, on the second day, when we make our way back this way, we're going to be headed down this Asquam Ridge Trail. This is one of the multiple trails that we'll go on tomorrow. I think there's like 3 or 4 different ones to complete the loop tomorrow. Tomorrow and the third day headed out. So still moving forward. Okay, I may have spoke too soon. Looks like there's a extremely caution sign here, slippery when icy, so I'm guessing I spoke too soon and we're getting ready to hit the really steep section that everyone seems to talk about and warn you about. Just made it to the Beaver Brook shelter. There's this shelter here. There's a fire pit, and I saw 3 tent platforms where you can set up. As far as I know, I think the shelters are back open. They're closed for COVID, and I couldn't find anything online where they're shut down again. So I believe you're allowed to use them once again, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Oh, I have to take back what I said earlier. This is certainly not the trail I would want to come down if the rocks are wet. There's some pretty far stretches in between some of these big boulders, one from one to the other. It is getting a little bit steeper coming down here. I don't know if it's too much steeper than going up the other side of Moosilauke, but I definitely think it's harder terrain as far as, kind of bigger rocks or boulderish size that you have to climb over. So it was definitely, even though the other side's also steep, it was easier coming up and probably easier going down there. I guess here's where the treacherous part starts. A lot of this groundwater is seeping out, and it's coming down, running right on the trail. So definitely have to be careful from here on out. There's definitely a lot of wet rocks and mud now, so just trying not to slip and fall on any of this. We believe this is the Beaver Brook. Not the safest place to try and collect some water, so I will wait till we get further down trail. But this, oh my God. This downhill, this descent, oh my God, it's been kicking my butt. Just trying to get down without falling. It is. It's been pretty steep. Definitely feel it in my knees. I think we only got maybe like another half mile till we get to Route 112 and hopefully a better place to collect some water. That's where the trail comes down. And it goes off into the woods over there. This granite slab, holy hell, that's super slick. I slipped on that. I almost slid the whole way down here. Trying to find the safest place where I can get some water. I'm thinking I'm probably going to try and go right over here. Water's not flowing as fast. I'm hoping these rocks are a little drier, or at least the fall's not as far. Well, I finally got my water refilled. I'm glad I was able to do it safely. So, onward we go. After coming down this part, I am so glad it did not rain today. One slip on this section and you're going for one hell of a water slide. All I gotta say is, holy shit. I think I found the little cliff that guy was talking about on top of the mountain. This is a beautiful view, but what comes next? I might be throwing my pack down there and just picking it up along the way. And the trail heads down around here and pretty much goes straight down. I sure wish I could film this part. Just finished coming down from Mount Moosilauke. Up top there, that's where we came from. So got down there. Someone left the fire burning by the Beaver Brook there, so I put that out. Now we're getting ready to head up the Kinsman Ridge Trail. Yeah, that fire must have still been burning from last night or something from a, wasn't even at a campsite. So I think we're like 2 or 3 miles away from where we're going to find a stealth camp for tonight. So we're about 10.5 miles in for the day. I honestly thought our climbs were over for the day. Looks like we got another one before we get to camp. This is the Kinsman Ridge Trail. I was on part of this when I hiked the North and South Kinsman loop about a month or so ago. I made it to the top of that first hill climb. I don't know if there's going to be another before I find camp or not. Just walking through this little marshy area. Maybe we'll see a moose. I finally made it down the Gordon Pond Trail. I didn't come the whole way down, probably not even a mile, until I ran into the Gordon Pond and I found this little place to tuck my tent into, and then behind me is a stream that feeds the pond. So main reason I didn't stop yet is because I didn't have a water source. So I'm gonna stay here tonight, get my water, eat, go to bed. In total was about 14.4 miles for the day. Wish I would have stopped earlier. I just didn't have a place to get any water. A lot of the seasonal brooks have run dry. That'll be it for today. I'll be back at it tomorrow. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Mike with Bear Track Adventures. Just getting started on day 2 of my Mount Moosilauke South Kinsman loop trail. Still on the Gordon Pond Trail, headed up back to the Appalachian Trail, and then continuing north on the Appalachian Trail. And today, I guess the 2 main attractions, I'll go over Mount Wolf. I think that's around like 3,500 feet of elevation. Not really quite sure on the elevation there. And then I'll continue on to South Kinsman. And once I get to the South Kinsman peak, I will turn back around and kind of retrace my steps on the Appalachian Trail. Well, we reached Mount Wolf. I'm just headed up to this overlook here. And apparently Mount Wolf doesn't have too many good views, just covered in pine trees. I will assume this is why it doesn't make the 52 with a view list. Just got our first good view today. You can see the Sandwich Range pretty good, which is where the Osceolas are at. Teku-Mesh, I believe is how you say it. You can see the ski slopes from here. Yeah, pretty much a whole Sandwich Range. And there you go, there's the Sandwich Range. And if I zoom in, you can make out the ski slopes a little bit right there. And then off to the left of that, I believe, is the Osceola Peaks. That last clip was from the Eliza Brook campsite. There's a shelter there, a couple tent pads. I believe there's a privy, but I didn't see one. I didn't look around too much. And I just stopped at the Eliza Brook to refill my water. I emptied out the water I had left from this morning because my water source where I camped last night was had a lot of floaties in it. This is a much better water source. So continuing on up to the South Kinsman Peak. Trail just follows the brook up the mountain here. These sections of the trail, I wish I would have brought Bear so she could pull me to the top. I've decided hiking in the White Mountains is not hiking. It's more like a combination of mountain climbing and hiking. This is pretty steep. Just one big piece of granite slab. This is an awesome section. I love these rounded off, like big sections of granite slab. Graduate incline that you walk on. There she is. It's South Kinsman. So we got some boulder hopping coming up here. Getting ready to do some more boulder hopping. Yee-hee. Oh. Hit the shin. Man, that's no joke. That is tough getting up there. It's not over yet. We still got a ways to go. And up she goes. We're only about 0.4 miles to the summit or the peak of South Kinsman, but in front of us, that's North Kinsman and the ridge line on top. And if you saw my North and South Kinsman loop video, that piece of ledge up there, that was where I took the video from North Kinsman, the view looking out, looking at Franconia Ridge. Campsite for tonight. Very cool. Onward we go. We made it to the top of South Kinsman. I will give you a 360-degree view from here. Whew. Over there, the big mountain, that's Mount Moosilauke. We started about 4 or 5 miles on the other side of that yesterday. We're headed back that way today, or at least to the base of the mountain. That in front of us is North Kinsman. That's also where the Kinsman Ridge Trail continues on. Franconia Ridge in the Glencliff Forest. So the Kinsman Ridge Trail there, after you get to South Kinsman, it continues on over to North Kinsman, and once you get down to the bottom of North Kinsman there, the Appalachian Trail breaks off from the Kinsman Ridge Trail and it heads down to Franconia State Park, and then the Appalachian Trail continues up over the Franconia Ridge, where the Kinsman Trail, after you get to North Kinsman, it continues on to Cannon Mountain, where there's also a ski resort over there. So I think in total, the total Kinsman Ridge Trail is like 12 or 14 miles altogether. But right now we're headed back down South Kinsman and headed back over to the Mount Moosilauke area. Not quite sure how far we'll get today. Right now we're about 7 miles for the day. It's going much quicker. Able to move faster going down than up, just being careful with my steps. But I did find out that once I got to the top of South Kinsman, I lost my nice Montbell rain jacket and part of my sleeping pad. So I just ran into someone that says it's down by the Eliza Brook, which is a few more miles from where I'm at now. So my mission is to find that and get it back. Apparently it's just on the left side of the trail, they told me. So moving forward. For nice and honest people. It's right where he said it would be. I'm so glad I found this. Onward we go. Trying to get down to the bottom of Moosilauke, Beaver Brook area and find a stealth campsite for tonight. Just passed by the Eliza Brook shelter again. Probably got about 2.5 hours of daylight left. I'm 9 miles in for the day. Trying to do as close to 14 miles as I can get. I was trying to get to the, I think it was the Beaver Brook area to find a stealth campsite, but I don't think I'm gonna quite make that. So what I did was I restocked all my water supply. So I got like 4 liters of water right now. So my heaviest water carry so far on this trip. That way, because for like about the next 7-8 miles or so, there's really not much of a chance for a good water source. So at least this way I can stop whenever I need to, whenever I find a stealth site, and I should have plenty of water for the rest of today and until tomorrow morning. So it's about 7:30. I'm wrapping up for the day. Did about 14 miles today, almost about 29 miles for the first 2. So I'm about 2 miles or so from Route 112, which is the bottom of Mount Moosilauke. So headed there in the morning and back up Mount Moosilauke again to finish out the loop part of this trip. Well, setup got a little bit more room than I had last night. Good morning. It's morning of day 3. Today's goal, looking to finish my 3-day trip, get back to my truck, head out, hopefully find a pizza place. I got about 2 miles before I get to Route 12, and then I'll cross over Route 12, head up Mount Moosilauke area, and then bear off the Appalachian Trail, headed over to Mount Jim. I just finished packing up, so just getting on my way. Just made it down to Route 112, getting ready to cross over. Got our last good look at Mount Moosilauke. We climbed about halfway up that today. About halfway up is where the Asquam Ridge Trail, it'll bear off to the left up there. So I'll be taking that Asquam Ridge Trail out to Mount Jim, and I'll start the loop portion of this 3-day trip. Monster bear print. Woohoo! Ooh. Came down this Thursday. It was a little scary coming down as far as slipping on the rocks go, but man, this is tough going up. Not scary, it's just it's a lot of hard work. It's been like this. Went to get some water from the Beaver Brook, and apparently the beavers are on strike because the Beaver Brook has run dry. I just got on the Asquam Ridge Trail now. I followed this for about 3.8 miles, so somewhere around 4 miles. And then I'll pass by Mount Jim, and then get off this trail onto the George Brook Trail, and then the Snapper Trail, I believe. So onward we go. Jim is pretty neat. If you look behind us, you get a partial view. Well, I can't find any official summit markers, but apparently I'm standing on the summit of Mount Jim, elevation 4,164, with a very thick forest. I think the best view is the last clip that I took, but very nice area up here. Right now I'm at I believe it's called the Ravine Lodge. It's basically a big lodge, and they have several bunkhouses. This is owned and operated by the DOC, the Dartmouth Outing Club, from the Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire. Stopped by to check this place out. It's pretty neat here. At the lodge here, is where the Asquam Ridge Trail kind of stopped, and now we're on the George Brook Trail. So we'll be on this, I believe, for a few miles now, and I believe this goes into the Snapper Trail. George Brook Trail continues up there, and the Snapper Trail goes this way. We're going to continue on the Snapper Trail. I believe the George Brook Trail, if you continue it, goes up to the summit of Mount Moosilauke, which appears to be the way a lot of people are going, because I've run into quite a few people in the past mile or so. So onward we go. Standing on top of Hurricane Mountain, elevation 2,992 feet. The climb up here was very unexpected. I didn't even bother looking at the elevation gain before I came up this way, or when I mapped it out. That was unexpected, but also this view. Very nice view for end of the trip. Only a couple miles left. I think about 3 miles left to go. Absolutely gorgeous day. Made it back to the junction of the Glencliff Trail and the Hurricane Trail. This is basically where I left the trail on Thursday morning when I started off. I only got about 1.5 miles left to my truck, so almost wrapping it up. By the time I get there, it'll probably be about 45 miles for the 3 days. It definitely beat me up. It was a tough 3 days, but well worth it. I had a blast, exactly what I needed. I just really enjoyed myself. The amazing views and just all the different, streams, brooks, ponds, and everything. It was awesome. So about 1.5 miles to go for the final push. I made it back to the truck and finished off on the Glencliff Trail. So overall today it was 17 miles today and 45.7 for the 3 days. So appreciate you following along and watching my 3-day adventure in the White Mountain. Like the video, go ahead and smash that like button, or go ahead and subscribe to watch our future adventures. Thanks again for watching.